Huddersfield Town are your early door leaders over in League One, and they're joined in the automatic spots alongside Stockport County. But will they still be there after match number 2? We're going to get into it, all of it, next. That's right, folks, back once again with another prediction video. Today is all about match number 2 over in League One. That's right, with the hopes and dreams of Stockport County. Can that continue into match day number 2? That's right, in the automatics alongside the Terriers, who are expected to challenge, but Stockport County are riding a crest of a wave. But will their results in the midweek games against the Carabao Cup have any impact on their future? Of course, we'll get into all of that and more in a second. A big shout out to the VIPs, they are the patrons. Again, if you do, hit the old subscribe, smash the like, and get involved with the channel. That's right, boys and girls. So let's get into it, of course, and recap the opening day results, of course, before we jump into the current weekend's action. So here we go, taking a long hard look at it, and these are the results that, of course, have defined the table. And as you can see, Barnsley opening up with a 2-1 loss to Mansfield. What surprise that was. I went the other way myself on that one. Hotly tipped, hotly fancied, big-time spending Birmingham City could only muster a draw against the threadbare Reading. 1-1 in the end. I went with a 3-1 win, got it wrong. Meanwhile, Bristol Rovers picked up a 1-0 win over Northampton Town. It's a great result for them. I went with a draw myself. Burton Albion, big win, big loss for them actually against Lincoln. 3-2 for them. I went with a 2-1 win. Ain't too shabby for me. Crawley kicked off their League One campaign in tremendous style with a 2-1 win against a Blackpool team that should be there or thereabouts, you would imagine. 2-1 win for Crawley. I went the other way. Again, Rotherham expected a lot of them this campaign. 1-0 loss to Exeter. I went the other way again. Leyton Orient opened up with a defeat against Bolton. 2-1 win. I went with a 1-0 win myself. We got Peterborough. They picked up a loss to Huddersfield. Like I said, they are top of the table. Peterborough slow to get out the blocks. Meanwhile, Stevenage pick up a monster win against Shrewsbury. 0-0 in the end for me. 1-0 win in the real deal. Stockport County 2-0 winners over Cambridge. 3-1 win for me. Wigan and, actually Charlton picked up a 1-0 win over Wigan to see them go flying high with a big win. I went with a draw myself. And Wrexham, moneybaggers Wrexham, 3-2 winners over Wycombe. I went with a 2-0 win myself in the battle of the W's. Those are my picks, and I did pretty pants, to be honest with you. What about you guys, though? Well, this is the current state of play, and as you can see, we have an outright leader, clear. He's got distance. It is Mark Duggins with 7. Well done to him. Chris is alongside it with Joseph Humphrey there, Joe Greenlad, Russell Frost, F. Mogger, Royal Music Tech are all up there, breathing down his neck. I'm all the way down there into 12th with 4, a miserable 4. But it is a marathon, not a sprint, guys. So don't worry. I'm going to be back next week, this week, of course, to reclaim my throne and get back in the mixer as well. And if you want to get involved, it is 100% free here, guys. Cutley/League One is the link. Get involved, put your picks in, and see if you can out-predict me, the Prediction King. Well, that's, of course, a roundup, but what about, of course, what's going on this week over in League One? Well, these are the games, that's right. We have some fan dabby doozies coming at you this coming weekend. So we're going to start with going up to London, or going down to London, that's right, as we take a little look at Charlton up against Leyton Orient. Of course, Charlton started off the season okay with a big win for them. Leyton Orient not so much, but Nathan Jones's Charlton will be hosting Leyton Orient for the 14th time since 2006. There's been 7 wins for the hosts, 5 wins for the Orient, and 1 draw between the two sides. Charlton, 58% form for them heading into this match. Also up against Leyton Orient, who also rock 58% form as well. Most recently, they played at the Valley back in August 2023. It was a 1-0 win for Charlton. In fact, the away side has not won this game since Leyton Orient beat Charlton back in August 2012 in the EFL Cup on penalties. The last time the away side picked up a win in the league was when Charlton beat Orient at Brisbane Road all the way back to 2010. Charlton have opened up with a 1-0 win over Wigan. They did lose to Birmingham in the Cup, albeit by just 1 goal. The Orient, with a 2-1 loss to Bolton on opening day, bounced back with a 4-1 win over Newport County in the Cup. The bookies will go with Charlton on this one, as will I'm going to back them with a 2-0 win and, of course, continue their early season peak under Nathan Jones. Let's go to Shrewsbury now. Let's head all the way up to Shrewsbury as Paul Hurst, taking on Peterborough and Darren Ferguson. Played 24 times these two teams, 8 wins for Shrewsbury, 13 wins for Peterborough, and there's been 3 draws between the two sides. Shrewsbury on the back of a win, 42% form for them right now. Peterborough on the back of 2 defeats, 67% form for them over the last 6. Most recently, over at Shrewsbury, it was a 2-1 win for Peterborough back in December 2023. In fact, Peterborough are unbeaten against Shrewsbury over the last 4. They've picked up 4 wins on the bounce. Peterborough opening up with a 2-0 loss to Huddersfield. They also follow that up with a 2-0 loss to Oxford in the Cup. So back-to-back goalless affairs for Peterborough. Could be a woeful start. They need a goal, to be fair, up against a Shrewsbury side who did lose to Stevenage opening day. Follow that up with a penalty shootout victory over Notts County. That might instill some confidence. The bookies are back in the away side on this one, as am I. I think I'm going to back Peterborough just to nick it, 2-1 win, get those goals going. Shrewsbury, I'm expecting them to struggle this campaign. Let's go to Northampton, says Sixfields. That's right. And we're going to take a look at Northampton up against Exeter City. And of course, John Brady with Northampton up against Gary Caldwell in the dugouts. They have played 18 times since 2012. 11 wins for Northampton, 4 for Exeter. There's been 3 draws between the two sides. Northampton are on 25% form for them at the moment without a win in at least the last 3 matches against the Exeter City side. 58% form for them right now, just 1 defeat in the last 6. Most recently at Sixfields, it was a 2-1 win for Exeter. In fact, the away side has not, the home side hasn't won in the last 5. In fact, the last time the home side won was back in 2020 when Northampton beat Exeter over in League 2. The hosts opened up with a 1-0 loss to Bristol Rovers. They follow that up with a 2-0 loss to Wycombe in the Cup. So back-to-back goalless affairs for Northampton. They've got to get that goal. Meanwhile, Exeter, 1-0 win over Rotherham, a good win for them, but they did crash out of the Cup against Walsall on penalties. The bookies finding it hard to decide between these two sides, but Northampton do edge it with them. They don't edge it with me, though. I'm going to sit on the fence with this one. I'm going to go with a draw myself. Let's get into the next one then, shall we? It's Huddersfield, who are table toppers, up against Stevenage, who have started off the campaign okay under Alex Revel. That's right, Michael Duff's Huddersfield hosting Stevenage. They have played just twice since 2011. 1 win for the Terriers, nothing for Stevenage, and there's been a draw between the two sides. And that draw was the last match that they played, but it was in Stevenage. That one and only result over at the John Smith's Kirklees Stadium was a 2-1 win for Huddersfield back in League 1 in October 2011. Huddersfield opening up with a 2-0 win over Peterborough. They follow that up with a clean sheet and a win over Morecambe in the Cup to make it 5 goals scored, 0 conceded up against a Stevenage side who beat Shrewsbury and ran Norwich close 4-3 in the Cup. They did lose on this one. The bookies are, of course, going to go with, I believe, Huddersfield here. Yes, they are overwhelming favoured, and I think I'm going that way as well. 2-0 win for me. Huddersfield taking the points and moving the chains. Let's go to Sincil Bank now as Lincoln take on Barnsley. That's right. Micah Skoguba's boys up against Darryl Clark's Barnsley. Played each other just 6 times since 2009. 3 wins for the hosts, 1 win for Barnsley, and 2 draws between the two sides. 58% form for Lincoln at the moment. They do come into this on the back of a defeat. We'll talk about that shortly. Barnsley bouncing back after their opening day loss in the league, I think with a result in the Cup as well. Most recently, they played over at Lincoln. It was a 2-2 draw back in November 2023. Lincoln are unbeaten against Barnsley over the last 5, 3 wins and a couple of draws. Barnsley's last win was in the Cup against Lincoln at Sincil back in August 2009. Lincoln with an opening day 3-2 win over Burton. They did crash out the Cup, though, to League 2 Harrogate. Barnsley, though, did lose to Mansfield, but they picked up a 4-2 win on penalties against Wigan in the Cup. They are also, they're actually underdogs here. Lincoln are favoured under Skabula. Going to go with a draw myself. Not too sure which way this is going to go, so I'm going to sit on the fence and park the bus. 1-1 draw in my eyes. We're going to go to the New York Stadium now. It's Rotherham up against Bristol Rovers. Steve Evans, not the greatest start for them in the league anyway, up against the Bristol Rovers side, who did start with an opening day result. 8 times they have played since 2011. 3 wins for Rotherham, 5 for Bristol Rovers, and there's been 0 draws between the two sides. Rotherham, 50% form for them right now, 1-2 lost to and drawn 2 up against Bristol Rovers. 67% form for them, winning 4 and losing 2 over the last 6. Most recently, though, over at the New York Stadium was a 1-0 win. Scrap that. It was a 3-0 win back in January 2020. That was in League 1. The away side hasn't won this game since February 2013, where Rotherham beat Bristol Rovers over at Bristol back in League 2. Rotherham with an opening day loss to Exeter. They did bounce back with a 2-1 win over Crewe. Then we flip that around a little bit. Bristol Rovers opening up with a 1-0 win over Northampton, but they did lose 2-0 to Cardiff in the cup. The bookies going with Rotherham here. They're hotly tipped despite that opening day loss. I am going to go with a win also for Rotherham. 2-1 win in the end to take it to the house. Let's go to the Matchday, and of course 2 clubs who should probably be much higher in the Football League, but I've got had ownership troubles recently over the years. It's Reading under Ruben Zealous, under Sean Maloney's Wigan Athletic. Played each other 24 times since 2003. 10 wins for Reading, 9 wins for Wigan, and there's been 5 draws between the 2 sides. Reading, 58% form for them, and now just 1 win in 4, but back-to-back games without a win. Wigan coming into this on 4 defeats on the spin. Not great momentum for Wigan as the season has got underway. The most recent match between these 2 sides at the Matchday, it was a 2-0 win for Reading, and it was back in December 2023 in League One. Meanwhile, Reading opening up with a massive draw against Birmingham, 1-1 over at St Andrews, but they did crash out the cup to Colchester. Meanwhile, Wigan opened up with a 1-0 loss against Nathan Jones's Charlton Athletic. They also crashed out the cup against fellow League One side Barnsley. So they are out. The bookies are siding with Reading on this one. I'm also siding with Reading. I think they've got a bit of talent in that youthful setup there. And of course, Wigan are going to find it difficult on the road. So I'm going to go with a 1-0 win for Reading. Let's move on over to Mansfield, who opened up their account with a win up against Burton. I think they did they lose? No, I think they picked up. Let me have a look. I can't remember how. No, they did lose, unfortunately. Mansfield against Burton in the battle of the Yellows. Cloughie's Mansfield, 75% form for them at the moment. Burton on 33% form for them right now. 3 defeats on the spin. However, these 2 sides have played each other 8 times since 2008. 6 wins for Burton, 1 win for Mansfield, and there's been 1 draw between the 2 sides. Most recently, they played each other over in Mansfield. It was back in 2014 in August. It was a 2-1 win for Burton, that's right. Burton opened up with a 3-2 loss to Lincoln. They also followed that up with a 4-0 loss to Blackpool. They've shipped 7 goals in the last 2 games. Meanwhile, Mansfield, 2-1 winners over Barnsley. They did lose to Bolton in the cup to crash out at this stage. Mansfield are favoured here. Going to go with them as well with a 2-1 win, as the bookies do. And that, of course, will keep them moving in the right direction. Meanwhile, Cambridge take on Crawley over in Cambridge. That's right, Crawley, managed by Scott Lindsay, linked with the Preston job. Meanwhile, Gary Monk's Cambridge try to turn their form around after suffering 3 defeats on the spin in all competitions and all venues. Crawley, though, unbeaten in the last 4, 58% form for them as well. They have played 24 times since 2005, these 2 clubs. 9 wins for Cambridge, 11 wins for Crawley, and there's been 4 draws between the 2 sides. Last time around, though, at Cambridge, it was a 3-1 win for Cambridge back in January 2021. In fact, the home side has won them all, stretching all the way back to 2017. And that last time it went the other way, it was a 1-0 win for Cambridge at Crawley over in League Two. Cambridge opened up with a 2-0 loss to Stockport. They followed that up with a narrow loss to QPR in the Cup. Crawley with a 2-1 win over Blackpool to get them up and running. Also through to round 2 in the Cup, beating Swindon 4-2. The bookies are going with Cambridge, though, with a home form. Crawley could be a weapon with Lindsay at the helm, but how long will that be? I'm going to go with a 0-0 draw, sitting on the fence somewhat, going against the bookies. And am I going with the form book? Yes, I'm slightly going with the form book. So a 0-0 draw in my eyes. Northwest Crudge clash coming at you over at Bloomfield Road. It's Blackpool up against Stockport County, and it's coming at you on August the 17th. Neil Critchley's Blackpool, 50% form for them at the moment, on the back of a win up against Stockport County's David Challoner at the helm there. 33% form for them right now. They do come into this on a bit of a loss, but they did open up with a win, and we'll talk about that shortly. 7 times they've played since 2002, 3 for the Tangerines, 2 for the Hatters, I'd say, 2 draws as well. Most recently, though, at Bloomfield Road, it was a 4-0 win for Stockport. When I say most recent, that's stretching back to 20 years. Since August 2004 was the last time they met at Bloomfield Road. Blackpool coming into this on the back of a 2-1 loss to Crawley. They bounced back with a big demolition job of Burton in the Cup, 4-0 win there. Meanwhile, Stockport County opened up with a 2-0 win over Cambridge. It did got a stinker against Rovers, 6-1 last time around in the Cup. The bookies are siding with Blackpool here. Stockport on maybe on a bit of a downer. I'm going to back as well Blackpool here. I think Stockport's depth is under question, and they might need to explore the loan market or what have you to get their numbers back up again. But it could be a title game, none the same. Meanwhile, Wycombe take on Moneybags at Birmingham City. That's right, coming at you over at the Adams Park. That's right, Wycombe under Matt Bloomfield up against Birmingham and Chris Davies. They have played 3 times since 2008. There's been 1 win apiece and a draw between the 2 sides. 58% form though for Wycombe at the moment up against Birmingham, and and 92% form for them as well. The most recent match between these two sides at Wycombe, it was a 0-0 draw back in February 2021. Birmingham's one and only win was at Wycombe back in August 2008 in the Cup. Wycombe opened up with a 3-2 loss to Wrexham. They bounced back with a 2-0 win over fellow League One club Northampton Town in the Cup. Birmingham with a 1-1 draw against Reading, and they scraped past Charlton 1-0 in the end in the Cup as well. The bookies are backing Birmingham, Moneybags Birmingham on this one. I'm going to go with a draw myself on this one. I don't think it's going to be the best start for Birmingham, but Wycombe will prove to be stiff opposition at their own turf. And then we go to probably the tastiest game in the round here. It is Bolton, it is Wrexham. It's coming at you on August the 18th. I believe that's a Sunday. Now, this will be the first recent encounter between these two sides. Anyway, Ian Everett's Bolton up against Phil Parkinson's Wrexham. I think Phil Parkinson once managed Bolton, so it'll be a tasty reception for him. 75% form for Bolton right now, 3 wins on the bounce up against the Wrexham side on 58% form for them heading into this one. Bolton on the back of a 2-1 win over Leyton. Orient, they did squeak past Mansfield in the Cup. Wrexham, though, put in 3 past Wycombe, crashing out the Cup against hotly tipped, hotly fancied Sheffield United. The bookies quite tight on this one. Not really. They're actually backing Bolton for the victory. I think I'm going that way as well. It's going to be tight. It's going to be interesting, and it could even be a game to watch. 2-1 win for me for Bolton on this one. Completes my picks. And, of course, don't forget to get your own picks in as well, guys, using the link here. It is 100% free. Get involved, and of course, hopefully you can challenge me next week in the old prediction league. But that, my friends, is what I've got for you. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to smash the like. Catch me back next week for, of course, match number 3. Who will be top of the table in that instance? We'll have to find out. But until then, I'm out of here.